Welcome to Season 3 of the Lead with Coffee podcast. It's been a crazy year of managing a pandemic, running our company, and our life with 3 teenage boys. Join us as we continue the journey into how you can change the culture in your business and your home through simple leadership practices. Grab a cup of coffee and get ready to join into today's conversation. Welcome back to episode 50 of the Lead with Coffee podcast. Does that deserve a round of applause?
That does deserve a round of applause. We need a button.
Where's
for
the button?
A round of applause. All right. Yay.
Cheers to us.
That's a lot.
High five.
High five.
To making it through 50 episodes, all during COVID.
That's right.
And the next 50 might be during COVID because it's never going away. But that's not today's topic. Today we are going to focus on how you're finishing strong in the last 90 days of the year. It is October 1st, and there's a lot of people out there that like to focus on the finishing strong in the last 90. And we thought we'd take a little spin on it and talk about how you're strategizing with your team to finish strong. Many of you lead organizations, and so we just want to dive in a little bit to talk about team burnout, mental health, how you're celebrating and how you're preparing for reset so you can take your organization into 2022 feeling strong and ready to engage.
And yeah, we definitely have to think about it and work on it because fourth quarter is typically one of our busiest of the year. And if we're just focusing on the work itself, the year is going to fly by. Mm-hmm. And there would have been no celebrating, no preparing for the next year, any of those things. So to really spend the time to think about what this next 90 days is going to look like is really important for us. And I would bet to say that it's really important for a lot of our listeners too.
Yeah, we talked about in our last podcast about seasons and how some people have seasons in their business that are busier than others. And for us, Q4 is our busiest season. But yet it's also a really busy season for people in general. There's a lot of holidays, there's a lot going on, and it can start to feel like you've been sprinting when it should be run like a marathon. And that's kind of what I think this year has felt like for us. It felt like every day we were just sprinting to some new defined finish line. But really, it's been a marathon that we've been on of how do you stay relevant? How do you pivot your business? How do you adjust again to new information, new changes? And so we really have to set ourselves up for the long haul. And that has caused team burnout. And that's not just team burnout, but also leadership burnout. Like we are burning out, but we're going into our most critical season. So what are you doing, David, to make it so that you can endure to the end of the year and not end up on the floor?
I think it is a lot about what we talked about last week and what we're going to talk about again today is we all have to remember we are in control of our time. We are in control of how we set the pace for our day, our week, our month. And, honestly, these last 4-6 months have gotten away from me as far as chasing after, the biggest fire or the most important thing at the time, which, usually someone else's priority, not our own. And not really focusing on what's important to me and as the leader of the business. And so how I'm going to change that is to put that into play and say, okay, here's, the next 90 days. How am I going to set up my days for success, my weeks for success, and the months for success, knowing that there are priorities, knowing that you can break each day apart to handle the different type of priorities within that day, and don't wait till December to start planning for Christmas. We're in that season of fall. The days are going to start getting shorter. Mm-hmm. We feel like there's less time to do things when the days are shorter, but not letting go of the big picture of this is a time for family and celebration, and we have a vacation coming up and those types of things. And I think every day I have to wake up and say, okay, maybe don't check my email first thing, maybe spend the time for the first hour just planning what the day is going to look like and stick to getting the most important things done first.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think for me, I have to acknowledge that burnout exists, that if I just keep pushing through, then I won't enjoy the holidays. I won't enjoy myself. And I love this time of year. It really is my favorite. I love going into fall and to Christmas and New Year's and having all those celebrations. And so being present and intentional with my time is what really gets me through this really hectic season. And giving myself boundaries. I know that this next 90 days for us is critical. There's so much that happens, not only for our year end, but with our clients' year end. And we can run all the way to December 31st. We can be sitting there dealing with a client challenge on December 31st, or waiting on an accounts receivable on December 31st, and sometimes really large ones because they like to hold all their funds and pay at the very end to clear their books. But then what does that do to your books? And when you're a small business, these are all the things that you're balancing. There's a lot that we're doing. And so really setting myself up for success in this season and watching that burnout is making sure that I acknowledge my own boundaries, but that I'm also really paying attention to our team. I'm watching them. I'm having discussions with them. I'm seeing if they're planning things that they're looking forward to, or is it just work, 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 work? And am I driving that, or are they self-imposing that? Because we have both. We have both situations in our company where we have some really hard workers that self-impose limitations on their time outside of work, and we really are saying always, there is balance here. We are not expecting you to work 80-hour weeks. That is not our intention, and we are not expecting you to work on weekends, and we're actually not expecting you to work when you go home. We want you present when you are here to get what you can get done, and if there's something big pressing, then we're going to jump in as a team, but no one on our team is working 10, 12-hour days every single day, and if you are, we're pausing to say, how did we get into this situation? How do we get you out of it? Because it's not what we want.
Right. And not only that, when we're in the office, we do pull people out of their chairs and come and have lunch around the table, or just have a fun discussion where, the culture of this business is not show up, sit down in front of your computer and grind for 8+ hours or 6 hours, whatever the case may be. Right. But let's have conversations, let's have fun, let's, celebrate, let's joke around and keep it light, because like you said, with some of the demands, whether it's self-imposed or from a client, you could sit in front of your computer and respond to emails all day long and feel like you didn't accomplish anything, and just be strung out and burnt out by the end of the day, unless you do something about it. And I think we're pretty good at telling our staff on a regular basis, and to be honest, we got to tell ourselves that, hey, let's go, again, sit around the table and have some lunch, or do something that is fun to kind of break that monotony of just grind, grind, grind. And it makes a huge amount of difference. And, honestly, some of our team can break that mold a lot easier than others on the team. And so we have to stay consistent on it, because those self-imposed deadlines and all these things, like, this will never get done unless I'm at it 100% of the time, which, that's partially me too. It takes a team, and it takes a leadership that understands that and sees that to help ask those questions and break that mold.
Yeah. And burnout can come from all over the place. Burnout isn't necessarily coming from work.
Yeah.
It can just be coming from life in general. Most people are burnt out. We talked about that on the last podcast. Overwhelmed and just struggling. And that's what most people are feeling at this point in the year as everything keeps changing. So let's talk about mental and physical health. The last 90 days, there's a lot of physical challenges that people set out to do for their health and how to, get prepared for 2023. But I really want to talk about mental health, and mental health of your team is so critical in this time of year, because sometimes the holidays can spark a lot of joy, and sometimes the holidays can spark a lot of sadness. And regardless of where that you're at, and then the stress of work, if you're in like an organization like ours, we prepare you all year for right now. We talk about it starting in summer, that we know starting October to December, it's going to be hectic. It's going to feel a little crazy at times, but we're going to work hard. We're going to play hard. We're going to give you something to look forward to. But I'm always watching not only what they're saying, but what they're not saying. Yeah. I can read your body language. I can really get a sense from how you're engaging with me. Are you making eye contact? Are you staring at your phone? Are you disengaged? Or are you engaged in what we're talking about as a team? And I can start to just get an overall sense of, is your personality seem to be shifting this week? Compared to last week in the office, you're more reserved, holding back, not talking, not coming out and getting coffee. What's going on? And like David has talked about in the past, I'm really okay with uncomfortable conversations, but that's really because I care and I want to make sure that if something's going on with someone on my team, that they know that we can see it.
Right.
And how can we help? What can we do? Are you overworked? Are you overburdened? Is there something you just need some time off? Take it. Let's figure it out.
Well, yeah, and I think it's a great point because it might have nothing to do with the stress at work. It could be something with a kid or something else.
House.
Or a house, yeah, house problems. That we all deal with. But if we bring those things to the office and we're shut down and reserved, that still affects the whole office. So, our culture has been to be able to share personal things. And, one thing I said to our team around the table last week was, this is a safe place. Whether it's giving feedback to each other on something within the business, or if they need to open up for something that's personal, this is a safe place to talk amongst friends and if you just need to get it off your chest type of thing. And I think it makes a difference because people, if they are having issues now, granted, we're not going for counseling here.
Sometimes I have a counseling chair in my office.
That's true. But
I have for 10 years.
But for the most part, one of our staff members was dealing with some, a flood in the house and some roof issues and just way overly stressed because of it. Fortunately, we're in construction and we can understand. And so we were able to talk through those things and
or
really
stressed her out more.
Well,
sometimes,
but just again, things that are from the outside you bring to work just because you spend most of your living time and your awake time in the office or performing work, that if it's something that's going to bother you from home and you're going to bring it in, it's going to affect, and just to get that off your chest makes a big difference.
And I would say, think about some of the most influential leaders that you have been around, not listened to, but actually been around and invested in you, in your growth and development. They didn't lead you to success in business. They led you to success in how to lead other people. And part of leading other people well is having that ability to be uncomfortable, be vulnerable, be open, and dive in, because you're leading people and you're not just leading product. And that, I think, is where most leaders fail. They don't want to get personal. They don't want to invest, and because it's business. But I guarantee you, if you invest more time in building relationships with your people, your business will start to thrive. Because most people, when you're starting to see the mental and physical health drop, if you acknowledge it with them, sometimes it makes them feel better fairly instantly when you're sitting in the room like, I see you. I see that you're struggling with something, and I just want you to know I'm here for you. And maybe that just means that I'm going to give you some grace. I'm going to let you take extra long breaks or leave early or take tomorrow off, and I'm going to encourage you to go for a walk around the park or whatever it is that I know you need. Or I'm going to give you a bottle of wine to just send you home and be surprised, right? That, like, I see you and I see you're working really hard, and here, I got this bottle of wine, take it, enjoy it, let me know how you liked it. And, you can shift people so fast because small little gestures, whether it's a listening ear, a small token of appreciation, time off, whatever, you can help people get through the mental challenges they're going through by just feeling like well, someone cares about me. Someone sees me, and they're not going to fix it for me, but they're just listening and understanding.
Yeah, and I think as leaders, being vulnerable ourselves to them of the things that we're going through makes a difference too, because if they see that the leadership is personable and vulnerable and, able to share the things that they're struggling with. Now, not necessarily to the point of what's affecting the business, but hey, this weekend our kid did, that type of thing.
Real life.
Yeah, real life things that, we are struggling with, to be able to share that. And I love the quote that Craig Rochelle has, which is, people rather follow a leader that is always real than one that is always right. And instead of having a leader that, just kind of tells you what to do and what the expectations are and that type of thing, people aren't going to feel the trust, and they're not going to feel the camaraderie and being as comfortable in the office than they will of a leader that's being real.
Definitely. So something else that we do here in our office is we start to build an energy this time of year, because we have what we call Friendsgiving, and we shifted away from our big holiday Christmas party at a restaurant years ago, actually, before COVID started, and we started doing a more intimate gathering at our home where we actually cooked Thanksgiving for all of the staff and invited them to our home for just fun and relaxing time. We'll have gifts for them that they're always looking forward to, a small little token to give them to go do some holiday shopping and have some fun money just to spend on themselves or their family. And it just becomes this time where 3 to 4 hours of just us serving them really great food, a comfortable atmosphere. And so it's become our Friendsgiving, right? And I think that we do it the Friday before Thanksgiving. And I think this is our third year doing it. And it is the number one thing they look forward to. We can go book the 4th of July and give them hotel rooms, but all they're talking about is the Thanksgiving food, feast, and coming to the house.
Especially your sous chef, Sandy.
Yes. So Sandy and I have a great time. It's not Friday, it's Pie Day. And we, have a good time cooking and preparing and just, really going all out and setting a beautiful table and having lots of fun drinks and appetizers and just letting them feel really spoiled, really special, but yet in a comfortable environment where it's casual, it's relaxed. Spouses aren't coming. It's like, this is just a time for us as a team to say thank you for everything you've done for the year, and that, what we're grateful for, and we're grateful for them. And so it's fun to host. And so we sent that out yesterday. And so we are 2 months away, or just a little under 2 months away at this point from Thanksgiving. And it's all they talked about. And all I did was send the invite out.
Right.
But they know that it's coming, and it's fun, and we're going to have a great time. We're going to eat a lot of good food.
Yeah. And last year, if you go to our Facebook page, it's still the main picture on our Facebook page, we had Friends shirts. So, there was a couple of "How you doing?" Good Joey Tribbiani, which...
Yeah.
I was wearing, but we had a couple of those, and everyone loved it. And the photos was just so funny.
They're so funny.
Yeah.
People really relax, and we've started a trend where David gives all the guys some of his favorite things. I give all the girls some of my favorite things that I've found over the year, and so whether it's Oakley or purses or whatever, they never know what they're going to get.
It's probably Oakley.
And probably some Kate Spade, but that seems to be, they won't let us shift away from it now that we did it once.
Yeah.
But, the fun part is you don't have to invest a ton of money.
Right.
It is the thought that counts. And whether you're doing it with your entire company or your small department team, this is easy stuff to do. When you open your home or you open a space, even if it's your office, and you make it different, and you bring this kind of sense of wonder to adults of like, I wonder what the food's going to be this year, because we always find something new on Pinterest to serve for appetizers and dishes. I wonder what the gift's going to be this year, and I wonder what the catch, now that we had a theme of Friends, like, what's it going to be? I think we're going to have a pajama party this year because it just feels right.
and that's the thing. That's a beautiful thing. But the best part about it is you're inviting them into your home to be comfortable,
right?
To feel like they are at home when they are in our home, when they're in your home, if you're the leader. Inviting them over is one thing, but invite them in to be family, be close friends, and just, whatever it is in the house that you do to prepare it, to make it feel comfortable, make sure you do that. It's more than just, some food and, an open door. This is our home. We want you to feel comfortable here. And that's kind of the vibe and the mood that we set. And people really love that.
Yeah. Last year it was kick off your shoes. We've got you all UGG slippers, put them on and come relax.
Yeah.
And that's family right there, right? Come on in. UGG slippers are a hit too, by the way.
Yeah.
So build the celebration. And what the Thanksgiving party does for our team is say not only how much we appreciate you, but that we also understand and appreciate the value of your time. And we're not going to throw this big holiday celebration in the middle of all your family celebrations and just make it a to-do list that maybe you do or maybe you don't want to come to. This small intimate gathering really sets the stage for them.
Yeah.
And then we'll do fun things for Christmas around the office, but we don't have to have this big grand event and that everyone's like, oh, I got to put on this, suit and go to this dinner and sit there for 3 awkward hours. It's like, oh no, we like the UGG slippers, comfy clothes, come eat some turkey. But it just sets everybody up for the holiday season to just feel like, okay, we have 1 more month to go.
Right.
After that, it's typically, we've got 40 to 45 days left, and it's that midpoint, so it works really well for the last 90 days to have that celebration in the middle. It energizes them for weeks to come. They talk about it. They show up with their goodies to the office, flashing their new bags, and it's fun.
Yeah, and like you said, it energizes them because they know that last push through December is going to be a lot of work. And this is the thing that, it's a Thursday, they got or it's a Friday, and then they have the weekend off. They're preparing for their family Thanksgiving the next week, and probably some work in there too. And then after that, they just know that they have a company that appreciates them, that loves them, and they're going to work hard for it till the end of the year because that's how we feel, and that's what we want to show to them.
Mm-hmm. So I would encourage you, if you're feeling like, oh, I don't give huge, large bonuses in my company, because a lot of companies don't live on a bonus system. You can do stuff like this that actually might build morale better than cash.
Yeah.
You can give somebody cash, and I've watched it plenty of times where someone will get a $5,000 or $10,000 bonus, and that feels good for that minute that you learned that you got it. And then all of a sudden they're grumpy when they see how much taxes are taken out of it. And then their spouse is going to spend it on a bathroom remodel or whatever, right? Where it's like, this is personal for them. It's stuff for them. And I'm not discounting the value of if you're a bonus company. But if you're not a bonus company, understand that you can add a lot of value outside of cash.
Well, and the fact in the point of what we do this, it is more personal. We're thinking about them personally instead of just as a monetary figure.
Yeah.
We're giving them comfy slippers because we know that they'll use them through the winter months. And, just it doesn't have to be that, but it's that thought process of, again, these are other human beings that have the same needs that you do. And what would I enjoy? What am I going to enjoy going through the next 3 to 4 weeks in some sort of memento to capture that?
Yeah, some fun. So the final one is really, how are you preparing for a reset? And if you're like us, we have 2 birthdays, one in December and then one on January 3rd. So it just feels the same, right? So we're running into that with our kids. And how do you do birthdays? How do you do Christmas? How do you do holidays? How do you run a business? How do you close the books for your business and serve your clients well? It's just a lot.
Yeah.
And so preparing for the reset of the year is really important for us, because otherwise we land in January and we are exhausted. It's like you don't want to feel like you're going through the motions and just checking them all off the box. Fine, Thanksgiving's done. Birthday number 1 is done. Okay, holiday party done. New Year's done. Birthday number 2 done, right? And it's supposed to be more of where did I invest all of me? Where did I show up? Did I make them feel like they were just a checkbox? Like, I got to get your birthday out of the way so I can focus on the holidays. How am I preparing? And so scheduling time off for me is really important. I need to have that schedule on the calendars. And what I would really encourage people is schedule 1 or 2 days blocked off before every major holiday. Otherwise, you're running up to that holiday and your family wants your time. Your family wants to feel like you can be present. And if you're like, I'm not really present until Christmas Day,
Right.
I'm still working on Christmas Eve, that's hard. So if you can and you have the freedom to do that, block that off. There's no meetings. There's no calls. If you need to get some work done, fine. But you're intentionally saying, this is a blocked day on my calendar. I'm not adding anything to it. And that's a hard no. I can do it before. Let me stack those days before and work 10 to 12 hours. But on this day, I'm present.
Yeah. A few years back, we had an opportunity on a really big project that we went back and forth on and spent a lot of time talking about it. But we knew if we had said yes to this project, we basically would have breezed through Thanksgiving, both the boys' birthdays, and Christmas, because it was going to take the last 4 weeks of the year and the first 2-3 weeks of January 100% of our time. Mm-hmm. And great big name, great big opportunity, but the price to pay was not worth us saying yes to the project. So we actually ended up turning it down. And the day we said no was a really tough day. Mm-hmm. It's hard to say no to business, but we knew it was the right thing to do for us and our family. And everyone's different, but the fact that we are a family-owned business, and it's not like one of us would be involved, but both parents very involved. What does that say to our kids? That we worked really hard and made some money? Yeah, but they would have never remembered that. I think if you go back and ask them what were the experiences like during that time, because it was pre-COVID, mm-hmm. they would remember. They would remember mm-hmm. how much fun we had that last part of the year, and that was completely intentional. And those are some of the hard decisions you have to make sometimes. Will you always be able to do that? No, but it's something to think twice about.
Yeah, I will never forget growing up as a kid, and my dad was a manager at UPS, and at that time of year, everyone knew that all managers would work and do whatever it took to deliver packages. And that meant on Christmas morning, we were driving around delivering packages with my dad. And I will never forget that. And people were so surprised to see us in the minivan, right, while he's delivering packages, because there was something going on that year, why there were shortages of drivers. But regardless, that impact has stuck with me for a really long time.
Yeah.
And we have said no more than we have said yes over the last few years to people asking for our time in December. For 10 years, we helped lead a very large charity event here in San Diego that would bring about 15 to 20,000 people through to collect toys and food at multiple locations around the county. And that leadership would start in July. Yeah. And that leadership would end mid-December. And that time investment, while it was such an amazing cause, after 10 years of doing it, we realized that it was majority of the time landing on our son's birthday. And so he would serve with us, which was great when he was little. But as he kept getting older, we could not do that to him every year. We could not say, we have to work around your birthday for this event, that this event comes first and you come second year after year after year. And so it was a hard decision to step away and say no. But now looking back, that firm no has changed our lives by saying we need to focus on our business, we need to focus on our family, and if we can do charity events, by all means we want to, but we can't invest 6 months into your organizational event and this season of our lives. Maybe in 4 or 5 years, when everyone's off to college, we'll be able to have that freedom to jump back in. But right now, in this season, like we talked about last week on the podcast, it's a no for now.
Yeah, right. That was a tough one to step away from because we were so ingrained and so deeply involved in it on an annual basis, and it took half the year to prepare for, and just incredible stories that came out of it. But it was a season, and it was time to move on from that, and focus back on just our close family. And I think everyone can relate to that too. You figure you have 18 Christmases, 18 summers with your kids before they're off to, either college or on their own. And when they're in their teenage years, you're down to, I got 4 of these left, 5 of these left. So in this season of your life, that is the most important thing.
Yeah. So preparing for that reset really means setting some boundaries with your time. If you're sprinting to the finish line to just check all your boxes in your to-do list, you're not going to be able to reset. You're going to fall flat on your face in January because you're exhausted. So this is the time to take a look at your calendar for the next 90 days. Evaluate, are my priorities on this calendar? Do I have them scheduled? Do I have them blocked? Do I know when I'm spending quality time with my family in this season? And does that even matter to me? Because if you're just work, you're not going to have a family at home waiting for you. So this might be the year that you realize, I need to shift my thinking a little bit to be more present, to be more engaged, and not just show up at someone's house for the holidays and say, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, got to go back to work. Right? Because all you're saying is I value work over you. And it's time to say, I value my work, but in these next 90 days, I also need to find my balance with my friends and family.
Thanks for listening to the Lead with Coffee podcast. You can find out more about us at leadwithcoffee.com or follow us on Facebook and Instagram. If you love our time together, please share it with your friends to help grow our community of leaders. Remember, life gets better with every cup of coffee. Just don't buy the cheap stuff. Mahalo.